Hello and welcome to Firstpost Live, where we bring you the day's top 4 stories from across the world. I am Gushin Garland, live from the Firstpost studios. Let's begin with the headlines. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he will still visit New York, brushing off Zoran Mamdani, the incoming mayor's warning that he could be arrested under an international criminal court warrant. US House Democrats released never-seen photos and videos from the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's private island, saying the material offers a disturbing look into his world and is being published for transparency. French President Emmanuel Macron meets China's Xi Jinping in Beijing, urging him to help end the Ukraine war and to address growing trade tensions between the two countries. Forecasters say more rain is expected in parts of Indonesia and Sri Lanka, raising fears of severe damage after deadly floods struck much of South and Southeast Asia in recent days, killing over 1,500 people. And a United Nations Security Council team arrives in Syria for the first time ever, meeting the country's new leadership just days before the anniversary of Bashar al-Assad's ouster. What happens when a delay doesn't stretch by 20 or 30 minutes, but by several hours? Patience thins, tempers rise, and very quickly, people start searching for someone accountable. This is exactly what unfolded as IndiGo, India's largest airline, slipped into one of its worst operational breakdowns in years, leaving passengers stranded across major airports. IndiGo has entered its third straight day of disruption, with cancellations continuing to rise across the country. On Thursday alone, the airline scrapped over 200 flights, pushing it deeper into a crisis that has unfolded through the week. The impact was almost visible at major metro hubs. Bengaluru reported more than 70 cancellations. Around 50 flights were called off in Delhi. Mumbai cancelled at least 85 services, and Hyderabad reported more than 60 cancellations. These fresh setbacks come on top of the chaos seen earlier in the week. On Tuesday and Wednesday, IndiGo had already cancelled more than 200 flights, while hundreds of others were delayed, leading to long queues and overcrowded terminals nationwide. All of this unfolded as the airline struggled to rebuild its rosters under the government's tightened crew duty safety norms. In fact, the airline's collapse this week didn't stem from one problem. It was the result of several stress points striking the airline all at once. And at the center of it were the new crew duty rules. From November 1, India's aviation regulator enforced tougher flight duty time limitation, or FDTL, norms meant to reduce fatigue. Because of this, many pilots who were originally assigned to flights suddenly became ineligible to operate. And in several cases, entire flight chains had to be cancelled simply because no crew was left to run them. The updated FDTL norms also required a complete overhaul of IndiGo's rosters. Night landing limits were tightened. The earlier allowance of 6 night landings in a specified period had now dropped to 2. Crew must now get rest that is twice the length of their previous duty, with at least 10 hours of rest in any 24-hour window. These changes boost safety but also mean airlines need more pilots per aircraft. And for a carrier like IndiGo, which runs over 2,200 daily flights, has a heavy overnight schedule, because of which the impact was immediate. Now, the second trigger came from technical failures at key airports. On Tuesday, systems handling check-in and departures at airports such as Delhi and Pune malfunctioned, creating long queues and slowing down takeoffs. Those delays multiplied through the day and disrupted aircraft and crew rotations across IndiGo's network. And winter congestion combined with holiday season rush only worsened the situation. Fog-linked operational pressure, packed terminals and peak hour crowding at major metro airports left IndiGo with little cushion to recover lost time. Government data shows IndiGo's on-time performance on Tuesday dropped to 35%, meaning more than 1,400 flights were delayed in a single day across major cities. The situation has drawn regulatory attention, with the Directorate General of Civil Aviation now launching a probe into IndiGo's massive cancellations. The authorities have also summoned IndiGo officials. So as IndiGo works to stabilise its network over the coming hours, uncertainty still hangs over its operations, and travellers can only hope the turbulence eases soon. Moving on. A few hours from now, Russian President Vladimir Putin will land in New Delhi for his two-day state visit. This will be his first trip to India in 4 years, and it comes from the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Indian leader will host President Putin for a private dinner this evening, a gesture mirroring the courtesy Putin extended during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Moscow last year. Now, before taking off for India, President Putin outlined his priority areas for Moscow's engagement with New Delhi. He said the focus now is on upgrading cooperation and on expanding Russian imports of Indian goods to balance trade.
We aim to elevate cooperation with the People's Republic of China and the Republic of India to a qualitatively new level by strengthening its technological component. This is the objective of numerous joint projects in energy, industry, space, agriculture, and other sectors. We will also discuss these topics in detail during the upcoming visit to India with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, including increasing imports of Indian goods to our market.
This visit is also timed with a major milestone in the relationship between New Delhi and Moscow. India and Russia are marking 25 years of their strategic partnership, established in the year 2000 and upgraded in 2010 to a special and privileged status. Tomorrow, the official engagements begin early. The Russian leader will be accorded a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan, followed by a meeting with Indian President Draupadi Murmu. He will then visit Rajghat to pay homage at Mahatma Gandhi's memorial. After that, Putin and Prime Minister Modi will sit down for the main summit. Talks are expected to span over energy trade, defence, procurement, nuclear cooperation, space collaboration and rupee-ruble payment pathway. Defence will be a major focus area. The two sides are expected to discuss ongoing platforms, including the S-400 air defence system, the same system that during India's Operation Sindoor detected, tracked and shot down multiple Pakistani projectiles, with New Delhi securing critical air power dominance in the region. Next comes the possible cooperation on the S-500, the successor to the S-400, and conversations around the Sukhoi 57 fifth-generation fighter jet. Trade is another big topic, especially the imbalance. India-Russia trade stands at around $69 billion, but nearly 92% of that is Russian exports to India. New Delhi is expected to push for steps that increase Russian imports of Indian goods to help balance the trade basket. The Russian leadership has already emphasized that it's ready to address India's concerns over the trade deficit. Energy and technology will also feature prominently. Technological partnerships in space, agriculture, manufacturing and industrial projects are expected to be reviewed with an emphasis on boosting joint projects. There are some key public-facing events on Putin's schedule as well. The Russian president will attend a state banquet at Rashtrapati Bhavan, hosted by President Draupadi Murmu. And in the next 48 hours, New Delhi and Moscow will cover a wide slate of issues, renew core commitments, expand into new sectors, and underline 25 years of a strategic partnership that remains steady and consequential. Let's shift our focus to heightened tensions in one of the world's most critical waterways, the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan has revealed new details about China's military behavior, claiming simulated attacks on foreign naval ships passing through these waters. Taiwan's top security official says China's military launches mock strikes using both naval and air assets when foreign vessels transit the strait, adding that Taiwan actively shares intelligence with international partners when their navies operate near Taiwan, ensuring allied ships have real-time awareness of Chinese movements. The Taiwan Strait is one of the busiest shipping routes on the planet, carrying about half of the world's container traffic. But Beijing claims full sovereignty over this narrow channel, a position rejected by both the United States and Taiwan, who maintain it is an international waterway open to all. In total, 8 different navies have conducted dozen voyages through the Taiwan Strait this year, including US Navy vessels that pass through every few months, triggering strong responses from China. And countries including Britain, France, Canada and New Zealand have also made transits in 2025. According to Taiwan, China quote-unquote shadows every ship, signaling Beijing's assertion over the region.
In addition, they will sometimes mobilize air forces, as the legislator just mentioned, to carry out simulated attacks in order to demonstrate their military presence and claimed authority in the Taiwan Strait. As a result, when our international friends enter the waters around the Taiwan Strait, they can generally grasp the typical modes of Chinese communist activity.
Meanwhile, China's military activity around Taiwan remains frequent. Taipei sees these daily ship and aircraft operations as a form of pressure tactic. And as we head into the final months of the year, Taiwan warns it is a period when China traditionally steps up its military drills. In response, Taiwan is moving to boost its own defense capabilities. In November, President William Lai unveiled nearly $40 billion in supplementary defense spending.
The purpose is to protect the combat capabilities of our armed forces. It is clear that the number of China's missiles continued to increase, and if it were to attack Taiwan, it would inevitably launch the missiles it has deployed. This is why we must have the T-Dome to effectively preserve our military's combat power.
Beijing, however, has slammed the defense package, calling it a misuse of public money and would only quote-unquote lead Taiwan into disaster. The latest revelations about China's alleged simulation attacks come at a time when regional tensions are already spiking on multiple fronts. Last month, China issued a sharp warning to Japan after Tokyo announced a new missile deployment on Yonaguni. The Japanese island is just 110 kilometers away from Taiwan's east coast, a move welcomed by Taipei.
Japan's deployment of offensive weapons on the southwestern islands adjacent to Taiwan is a deliberate attempt to create regional tension and provoke military confrontation. Coupled with Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's erroneous remarks on Taiwan, this trend is extremely dangerous and warrants high vigilance from neighboring countries and the international community.
With repeated Chinese drills, alleged simulated attack runs and growing naval footprint across the Western Pacific, regional powers like Japan, Australia and Southeast Asian nations may be forced to rethink their security posture. In such a tense environment, even a routine transit can be misread as a provocation and mock attack could be mistaken for real aggression. And with the growing tensions, a regional flashpoint has now turned into a global economic and security concern. And now we move to our final story. On International Cheetah Day, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi struck an upbeat note, celebrating what he called India's revived ecological heritage. This is a project Cheetah enters one of its most successful phases yet. In a post on X, the Indian Prime Minister extended greetings to all wildlife lovers and conservationists dedicated to protecting the cheetah, one of our planet's most remarkable creatures. The Prime Minister recalled the government's decision 3 years ago to launch Project Cheetah. It was an ambitious attempt to return the world's fastest land animal to Indian soil after it was declared extinct in the country more than 7 decades ago. According to Prime Minister Modi, the project has now begun delivering on its promise. From restoring fragile grassland ecosystems to placing India back on the global conservation map. The Indian leader further wrote, and I quote, "It was an effort to revive lost ecological heritage and strengthen our biodiversity." End quote. What began with 20 cheetahs flown in from Namibia and South Africa in 2022 and 2023 has now evolved into a thriving homegrown population. As of December 2025, India supports 32 cheetahs, including 21 cubs born on Indian soil. A figure officials describe as quote-unquote remarkable progress for reintroduction program once viewed with skepticism. In fact, one of the project's proudest milestones came last month. This is when Mukhi, an Indian-born female, delivered 5 healthy cubs. Most of the animals now roam free within Madhya Pradesh's Kuno National Park and Gandhi Sagar Sanctuary. Monitoring teams have reported stable behavior, improved survival rates, and growing prey availability. The success has also sparked a tourism ripple effect. Cheetah sightings, once a fantasy for Indian wildlife enthusiasts, are slowly becoming a reality, drawing more visitors to Kuno and helping local communities benefit from conservation-driven tourism. The Prime Minister said he was heartened to see interest rising and encouraged more travellers to experience India's return to big cat diversity. India's cheetah revival has also deepened international cooperation, particularly from Namibia, whose contribution of 8 cheetahs kick-started the project. Addressing the Namibian parliament earlier, Prime Minister Modi expressed gratitude for the partnership.
When you help us in reintroducing cheetahs in our country, we are deeply grateful for your gift. I had the privilege of releasing them into the Kuno National Park. They have sent a message for you. Inima Aishe Oili Nawa. Everything is fine. They are happy and have adapted well in their new home. They have grown in numbers as well. Clearly, they are enjoying their time in India.
With rising populations, new births and expanding habitats, Project Cheetah now stands among the world's most closely watched wildlife restoration efforts, and increasingly one of its most hopeful success stories. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushingala and we'll see you right back here at the same time. Until then, stay informed and stay tuned to First Post.